were things you were looking for when you were looking at arms?
I mean, everything. Like, can you have a left-right balance? Can you have some guys that profile as legitimate starting pitchers that can deepen these things out to shorten the back end of the game? Can you have variety on the back end of the game to match up, to gather outs at the end? It revolves around the upper end guys being the best versions of themselves. You're always going to have older guys, and this year I think probably a little more evenly spread in terms of the age of the guys. So you've got those older guys and the more physical guys and guys that have been through it a little bit that you need to lengthen out if they're going to have an opportunity to be starting pitchers. Then you turn to some of the variety, and we have a couple guys with some octane that we feel like we can use out of the bullpen to get out some jams, and that's what you look for. Now, in the recruitment process, you can't always nail that. Like sometimes, especially this summer, we added 9 Division I transfers and then our 4 JUCO guys and 13 freshmen. Some of that's easier to do like through the early signing period. The transfer whitewater world that we all live in, you can't always put the pieces of the puzzle like exactly how you want them. So you may have ended up with more lefties than you expected, and that could be a great thing. There may have been something that popped up later in the process that you didn't expect, that you were able to grab, that changes the look of the staff. So at the end of the day, it's functional arms, the number of arms to give you some depth and cover you if you do have some injuries.
The last preseason, I think you would talk about some of the concerns you had and played itself out. Are there more things that you're encouraged about going into this preseason as opposed to where you were at last year?
Well, definitely. The physicality stands out to me. I like it. The other side of that is our defensive consistency. Like I've seen evolution with the physicality and some of the ability of the guys to drive baseballs and make difficult throws just with better strength and understanding. We still have to be cleaner at times. I still see moments where I feel like we're not as efficient defensively as I would like. So if you were to watch this, and our practice plan is actually on the screen over there, a lot of it is the team defense and guys working together and figuring out the nuances of how to play just really clean fundamental defense. So much further along, but still have some concerns. And then on the pitching side of it, I feel like we're in a pretty good position with the nucleus of guys that could start. Then you turn to, all right, when those guys, you get to the 6th or 7th inning, like what are you able to do to close games out? And that bullpen is critical. When you can shrink the necessity to use that over the course of a weekend by good starts, then clearly it diminishes the risk that you have like on the backside of the games because there's not as many innings to account for. So I like what I see, but I do still have some concerns about the ability of the bullpen just to manage and kind of harness what I see as good stuff, but maybe not as consistent towards the back end of how I would view games.
How many, guys are in you're stretching out now, kind of in the starter conversation at this point, 3 weeks out? When do you like to have that kind of shored up?
Yeah, we're about 6 right now, 6 guys, and then I would give it probably this weekend and next, and then we have to make some decisions on what to do. Not ready yet, and you're talking 2 or 3 inning spurts, and for some of the guys that maybe had something going on at the end of the fall and the off season, some of these guys are still making 1 inning stints. So eventually you may shorten it and let somebody get used to throwing like on a Friday, Sunday, or a Saturday, Tuesday to try to prepare them for what it feels like to bounce back when we get to the season.
How beneficial was it to have a full off season with a lot of these guys for the first time?
Oh, huge, and their desire to go play summer ball. You look at what some of the guys did in the Cape. Like you can lift weights and do all the things that make you more athletic. There is a necessity to hone your in-game baseball skills, and I think Smith and Tibbs and Ferrer, you could just go down the roster and look at the number of guys that logged at-bats and innings in the summer. That's going to show up on the field today, and it'll show up on the field on February 16th. It's just a better understanding of self and a better understanding of the gamesmanship and what's going on around you as you compete.
Obviously, you're trying to add the best talent possible, but how nice is to have some local kids on the team as well this year?
It's cool, and I think it should be that way. Our nucleus recruiting needs to start here, and then clearly you have to expand out. Like it can't all happen in Leon County. Now, if there's good players in this area, they should be in our uniform, and I hope that we can continue that. And it's good to have Faroe and West back here. Dingy's from TCC, one of our catchers here, and that's how it should start. And then you have to spread your wings and go out, and the transfer landscape like gives you an opportunity in the summer to grab and try to fill with some maturity and some experience. Those two guys would be good examples of that, and to try to slide in and complete the roster.
How do you feel like the defense is developing specifically up the middle infield and behind the plate?
So much more depth behind the plate. Colton Vincent gave us absolutely everything he had last year, and it was really good. We have 4 or 5 guys now that could go back there and handle that position. Somebody's got to show us that they're taking big strides defensively, but that group, Brad has done a great job with that group, and it's a talented group. Like what you'll see out there today, pretty impressive from a receiving, blocking, throwing. They've gotten a lot better. Man, Faroe and Lodis and Fisher and Kamaka and Spencer Butt dove in the fall and hurt his shoulder. He's a good player, left-handed hitter. I like it. Like clearly more depth. So that's a positive thing. And you do have some left-right balance, and Faroe's a switch hitter, so that gives you some options, and more athletic, more depth, just more options and versatility.
I'm sure you take pride in the fact that Rich and Chuck got head coaching jobs. But this is a very new looking staff, and you've expanded it. And you should just talk about the staff a little bit, how it's come together.
These jobs are hard to get. Head coaching jobs are difficult. It's not easy. And those jobs align for Rich and Chuck perfectly. And I spoke to those ADs at length in terms of their capabilities and readiness to lead a team and run a program. And they're great. And they're in a position to be set for a long time. Good jobs. Micah knows it inside and out. His ability to mesh the new modern day analytics and the grips and what we've done in the cage is phenomenal with the TVs and the mounted cameras and the TrackMan in the cage. He just blends that so well. And Rob Collison was with the Astros, so he's really good at pitch shaping and understanding how it works and what pitches probably play best for each guy with the technology. Micah's phenomenal. Ty, I've known Ty, Coach Ty. Ty was with me at Auburn, won the SEC West. Our languages are the same, like when you coach somebody and you coach with somebody. And he's gone on to shoot, I think he's signed players from 39 states. And you have to have national connections in the era we're in college baseball with the transfers and the junior college recruiting. So, man, those guys are phenomenal. Randy Burdett is on board now, and he helped with this room. This was done over Christmas break, which is phenomenal. And Mike Arp with Mad Dog, and Ben Zierden here, and Justin Jacobs on our staff. This is an amazing transformation of this room in a short period of time. So Randy helped with that over Christmas to have those guys dive in and do the construction. That time of year was great. And I'm going to just talk about this space we have for Coach Martin. This is the best there ever was to put on a uniform, and the number of wins, the way he carried himself. I saw Carol and Mike last week. Phenomenal human beings. Means the world to me, the program, and I wanted to have a dedicated space for him. So all of those guys I mentioned, we helped design this, and that space is going to stay for him, and we can run a video of him, and I'm glad you guys got to see it today. But there's a lot of new people that have a hand in what's going on here.
For you as the head coach, when you do have these new assistants, how much of it is this is my program, it's the way I want to do things, but then also incorporating new ideas and concepts into making the product?
It has to be a blend. The things, if you had sat through our meeting, like these are the things that I want to do and how we do them. Now, they have to have the freedom and flexibility to verbalize and coach and instruct their specific areas the way they feel works for their personality and their style and the players. So it's me with my big picture ideas and then their personality and the nuances with which they instruct. That's all them. So they have to go get it and go do it the way they feel best for what Mike is doing with the pitching staff right now while I'm talking to you. Like that's his verbiage and his language, and those are his tools. So there's a good blend of it.
Has anyone stepped up as leader yet this year? Like, are you seeing that kind of growth already?
Man, well, Tibbs and Ferrer and Whitaker and Cam, like yes, you do. You have so much more of a sense of like the confidence level of those guys to take charge, and their production speaks, and then like their verbalities speak, if that's a word, like what they say in that locker room, how they carry themselves. That means something, but you have to go out there on the field day in, day out and practice and perform, and you have to produce in games, and clearly those guys check all those boxes.
Awesome.